Hello and welcome to the Glowface Digital Wellbeing Podcast. I am, of course, your host, David Talbot. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to the podcast this week. Again, really keen and excited to talk about some more theoretical ideas, philosophical ideas with the space of digital well-being. Apologies if you can see me on YouTube. I look a little bit horrible today. It's been a big week. Like everyone, I'm sure we're all very busy these days, but which is sort of part of the point of today's podcast. Really keen to get into the conversation today. And, if you saw the promo, the conversation today is about the whole idea around convenience and automation. It's kind of stemmed from a book I've read recently called The Glass Cage by Nicholas Carr. Huge Nicholas Carr fan. Kind of sounds like Nicolas Cage, right? Nicholas Carr, he is an author. He's written some amazing books around technology, really challenging a lot of the concepts and ideas that we sort of come to accept really within the world of technology. I guess I like to think of it as a church of technology. We all just kind of accept technology as a given, as a necessity in our lives. And someone like Nicholas Carr comes in and reframes the picture, takes a different perspective and challenges, not only myself, but hopefully people, around the world to think a little bit differently. And the book, The Glass Cage, is a conversation around automation and how automation in our world has changed humanity fundamentally. And I guess the whole idea is, we're moving towards this society that is completely convenient and completely automated. And I guess that's kind of the subtitle of his book. Who needs humans anyway? And always the idea around automation always kind of comes up and says, well, humans are error prone and they make mistakes and we don't really need them in the process. And that's true. I don't disagree. We do make mistakes, don't pay attention, and things happen when we make mistakes. And so you want to build in a machine that takes input, output, and creates it's a pretty stringent process. And then problem is, though, you sort of introduce the human as the overseer, and I guess humans aren't very good at paying attention to boring basic tasks, just like overseeing a computer. And that's really what Nicholas gets into, is that humans are best when they're creative, when they're thinking outside the box, problem solving, and trying to be creative, come up with new ideas, and having to actively engage in their work, having to actively think about their work. I always like thinking about any job has three important aspects to it. You have to be able to be creative, autonomous, and you have to have a clear relationship between effort and reward. And in jobs where you oversee a computer, you're not very creative. There's no autonomy. You're told what to do and what to monitor the computer doing. And there's really no relationship between effort and reward. And so it's not a very rewarding, I guess, existence when automation becomes a really crucial part of your role. It really does diminish the industry itself. It diminishes the output from the human. And I guess that's kind of, you take a step back conceptually, is then what are we working towards? What kind of society are we trying to build in this sort of fully automated, fully convenient world? And, you sort of take the progress to where everyone kind of wants to see it happen. Everyone wants to see a world that, not everyone, but I suppose the church of technology would propagate a world that is fully automated, that is completely and utterly, human error free, because human error sucks. And I want to stop and say, yes, it does suck, but also, I heard a great quote that it's called trial and error for a reason, not trial and success, because you learn from trial and error. You don't learn from trial and success, right? So, you need the error to grow. You need the error. Everyone says embrace failures because that's how you grow. That's how you learn. And I definitely agree. But you start to take the human out of the creative picture, out of the work picture, and you start to lose the error. And then yes, things get less risky, but also they get less creative and they get more boring, and you diminish the value of the overall process. And you diminish the value of the human in the process as well. And I guess that's kind of what the point is, what are you trying to achieve then? What do you get when you get a fully automated society? And I would say, you probably get not what you expect. There is a passage in Nicholas Carr's book where he talks about I think it was Plato, hypothesizing about, what happens when the master and the slave, of course, was, slavery back then, when they get more slaves that are more efficient, the master is freed up to do, the more important things in life, like think about art and philosophy and theology and politics and go and eat fine foods and you do exquisite things. And I guess you take the moment then to reflect on, well, we don't have a society, of course, where we are fully free from our burdensome work lives, but we do have by far and away the most convenient society in human history. You can do anything from your phone, you can get anything, and you know what, you can almost live your entire life without having to leave your house. You can get food delivered, you can get someone to clean your house, you can do very, very little from, in our world. But what has a world that is fully automated, fully convenient, that is, effect that's pretty close, as close, of course, that we've ever been, and continues to edge towards automation. What does that produce in a society? And it's not as if it's produced a society that is, one of cohesion, one of peace and happiness. In fact, it's probably safe to say it's one of the more polarized, particularly Western societies. One of everyone it seems to be a little bit angrier. You hear the statistics about mental health, anxiety, depression. People are overworked. People are, the rates of suicide have increased in the last 20 years dramatically. Wherever you look, the statistics look bad. I know human average lifespans have only just decreased recently, once or twice, I think, in the US. But overall, it's much improved in the last 100 years, and it's a testament to healthcare. But just because someone's life is improved doesn't mean it's gotten any better. You think, sometimes progress needs to be looked at in a different lens. So what has the progress of automation and convenience given us? The progress has given us a society that doom scrolls its way through life, that spends anywhere from 2, 4, 6, even 8 hours a day staring at not just their phone, but a variety of other screens. And we're not sitting there, talking about philosophy and having productive, some people are, but you're not having hugely productive open dialogues. You're having narrow-minded, closed-minded, quite aggressive interactions with people that seem to have lost what it means to be human. And I guess that kind of comes back to what Nicholas is talking about. Who needs humanity anyway? And so, what do we actually do with all this free time? Well, there are some positive things. People love going to the gym. Of course, education is a huge part, and really embrace people that read and write and journal, learn an instrument. You can see the guitars in the background here. But by and large, we've spent a lot of our free time in the last 20 years since the dawn of the internet age, just staring at screens, watching more TV, watching more content online, watching more of our phones, scrolling through social media, just flicking through reels after reel and TikTok after TikTok. And so, what's the point then? Why are we moving towards an automated society? Why do we want all this automation, all this convenience? What are we actually getting? We're not getting a society that is more fulfilling. We're getting a society that is more, I guess, use the word depressing. And it tends to remind me of the society that Aldous Huxley, his name, it escaped me there for a minute, it describes in Brave New World, and I've talked about this before on the podcast. Talking about a society where nothing's wrong, everything is convenient. And effectively he argues that there's the society that is controlled by the things we love, not by the things we hate. And we love convenience. We love making things. We love taking error. We hate failing. Who likes failing? No one likes putting their finger up, or their hand up, and saying, yeah, I failed. I made a mistake. No one likes to say that they've had error. And that's kind of, I think, why mentally we push towards automation as a human race, because one, it sucks to say you're wrong. And then two, it sort of removes this awkward sort of error process. So, Aldous Huxley built this world where nothing went wrong. Whenever something did go wrong, you could just take Soma, which was a drug that allowed you to go on a holiday mentally and just kind of go on this drug-induced trip. And it would take people to, happier places rather than having to confront the difficulties in front of them. And that's what we have done. We have given ourselves convenience and dopamine at the scroll of a finger, allowing us to escape reality and move to a different world that doesn't really exist, that doesn't reflect the 6 inches in front of our face, except the one that's being shown to us on our device. And we've built this world around things that we love, around convenience. And the point being of today's podcast is it hasn't improved humanity. Arguably, yes, I know that healthcare and the poverty line, all these things have improved in the last 100 years, but that doesn't mean that we've progressed as a human race. And you need to redefine what progress means. I would, think more progress around the level of empathy in society, the level of cohesion, the ability that people have to have open conversations and conflicting views and live in the same world and not hate each other. To me, I know they're quite arbitrary measures, it's hard to quantify, but to me, focusing on measures that reflect a society changing in that way is so much more important than focusing on these sort of base statistics around improvements in health span, rather than well, yes, you've improved people's lifespan, but have you improved the quality of that lifespan through convenience? And I would argue absolutely not. So that's really what I wanted to talk about today in the podcast. Who needs humans anyway? Well, of course we do need humans. We want, humanity to thrive. And I think when you start to think more about your digital well-being, that's when you can start to reclaim part of what makes you human. That's entirely what my book is about. Glowface. Why are we losing our humanity to screens, and how we can take it back. It took me way too long to get my own book subtitle out. But, why are we losing our humanity to screens, and how we can take it back? That's what we're doing. We're losing our humanity. We're losing our ability to be leaders. We're losing our ability to educate. We're losing our ability to use our natural talents, amongst many other things. And I just, want to call out that the progress of the Church of Technology isn't always good. I mean, Nicholas has this quote, and I'll use it as a quote of the week, something to the effect of, just because you resist doesn't mean you're rejecting it. And sometimes resistance is okay, particularly if it means you're upholding what it means to be a human being. And so I'd encourage you that, just because you're resisting some things in technology in your life doesn't mean that you're rejecting it, doesn't mean that you're antiquated. That means you're just seeing value in a different way. And that's really all this is. It's not all this is, but a lot of this is reframing value propositions. Where do you see value? Do you see value in providing a more convenient, automated society? Or do you see value in, hard work and labor and a human race that's allowed to be creative? And personally, I see value in a human race that's allowed to be creative. And I don't embrace technology at every turn, because I think the convenience is overrated entirely, and that human beings should look to take back their lives from technology. And hopefully through digital well-being, we can find some new ways to explore how to do that. So that's it from me today. Thanks so much for taking the time to listen. Of course, I will be back again next week. And I hope you enjoy, in the interim, some of the content I put out on socials. And I appreciate your time. All the best this week with your digital well-being.